All right, what do we need to illuminate for this Cancer new moon? Wow, we've got the lovers at the bottom of the deck. I feel like this is a realignment and we are attuning to our natural frequency, and this is going to allow us to attract partnership that balances us out. Even just from looking at the astrology, we've got Uranus trine Pluto, then Pluto opposite Jupiter. So this is we've got Uranus and Mars in Gemini, Pluto in Aquarius. This is Earth, this or not Earth. This is air sign. And so this is a schism mentally. Like this is a breaking point mentally. And the vision I was getting before I sat down to even pull cards here, Queen of before I even pulled cards here, I'm getting like a dam breaking. This feels like a dam breaking. And this feels like someone has been doing mental gymnastics to try and hold something together, and the logic is breaking down. So, this is a breakdown of logic that's happening, and it's also a resilience in the human spirit with Jupiter and Leo. So, I've got the Lovers, Queen of Cups, Six of Pentacles in reverse. This is and the Three of Swords. This is going to be an emotional new moon, but it feels like a purging, and it also feels like any sort of boundaries that are broken down during this new moon is something that was not ever really stable enough to hold to begin with. So, for there's going to be some relationships that hit a breaking point. Um, and that breaking point might be because a lot of the effort that you were putting in to hold things together was not enough. So this feels like whatever sort of man-made, like a dam cannot hold back a full ocean kind of thing. Like whatever kind of man-made boundaries or man-made boxes are too weak compared to the human spirit and our primal instincts. So, King of Wands, there's like a level of resilience that we are tapping into with the human spirit to where it's almost like we're getting to the other side of heartbreak in some area of our life. It's like the fear of heartbreak is not so scary compared to how it feels to have to hold everything together and pretend like you're fine in some area of your life. So there are going to be some relationships that collapse. The High Priestess in reverse, some relationships will collapse if it is something where you have been ignoring your intuition about it and you kind of have known for a while that something was breaking down or that something wasn't working. However, on the other end, a lot of you might be in like a no contact situation where you are going to make contact because the um the pressure of staying apart is too great. So take what resonates, because no matter what is going on in your personal life, this is a time to kind of realign emotionally. And so with the Lovers and Queen of Cups though, this is like the purpose of whatever comes up for you during the Cancer new moon is to realign you with greater partnership. And it's to remind you that you can't do it all alone. It's to remind you that asking for help doesn't have to be embarrassing. King of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like a lot of you have been feeling a little bit ungrounded lately. And part of that has to do with this hyper independence in our culture. Ace of Cups. A lot of us, we just have way more love to give than what we are willing to hold in. And so I think that this is going to be a moment where we recognize the power of love, because I feel like a lot of us have been holding back and holding in and trying to numb, because a lot of us have felt like, I gave too much to this person in the past and they ended up not giving it to me in return. A lot of us are feeling like, I don't want to get my hopes up. And so I'm going to like put all my cards in the table and I'm going to hoard. I feel like, especially with Jupiter and Cancer the past year, there's a lot of like hoarding energy. And this is a time for purging out. Basically, a lot of what we've been hoarding and holding on to, not all of it has been good for us. And another way to think of it is like in the economy, for example, money needs to flow, money needs to circulate, and love also needs to circulate. I'm a little bit amazed that even like knowing that the Cancer new moon is obviously going to be a super emotional time, the fact that I'm getting Ace of Cups, Lovers, Queen of Cups, this is going to pull at your heartstrings. But I also feel like music and dance might be significant. You're going to be able to dance with whatever this is, even if this means turning backwards when in covering, being responsible for something that you thought that you've already completed, or this feels like going back to take care of something. And this inner child work could be significant as well, because the song Feels Like I'm Only Going Backwards is coming to mind, by Tame Impala. I feel like there's something that you know isn't over. There's something that has been left unsaid. And this is something that you've been holding close to your chest. And so I feel like with the Lovers card here too, I feel like in general, you are kind of, you want someone to mirror you properly. And there's a lot of emotion that you have ready to give that you don't know who to give it to. Knight of Cups, King of Cups in reverse, Ace of Cups, Five of Pentacles. And so there's like a little voice in your head that is wondering, what if I'm going to waste? What if this love I have to give, what if I give it to the wrong person and that's a waste? I feel like you're going to surprise yourself by how much you have to give and by how resilient your spirit is. Because I think that part of the power of love is leaning into ambiguity, leaning into uncertainty, and choosing and knowing that the love that you have to give is greater than the fear of potential heartbreak. And you are choosing that risk. In some area of your life, you're choosing that risk. And a lot of you might have been hanging on to relationships that need to end. And you are going to accept your peace of mind is more important than the heartbreak and the grief of getting over that breakup. The Emperor. I feel like this you're going to experience, and now look at wherever Cancer is in your chart in order to know more about how this is going to affect you and what themes will be illuminated for you. Check out the link in bio if you want to know your full astrology report. But I feel like you're going to surprise yourself with how stable you really are, because I feel like the whole time that Jupiter was in Cancer, it was quietly expanding your capacity to love, your capacity to give, and your capacity to receive. So, slowly behind the scenes, you have been expanding your capacity, your capacity to feel grief, your capacity to move on after heartbreak. And you have this well of emotion inside of you that can keep you stable with the Emperor card. This seems like whatever is on the other end of this is going to be a lot more stable than where you are now. And so if I go back to the image of a dam breaking, it's like the dam itself, it's like the water wasn't the problem. The dam wasn't set up properly. And I feel like just this huge well of water that is taking on a life of its own. Like I feel like if you are someone that is going to be letting go of a connection, I feel like you are going to be so surprised with your ability to handle grief and your ability to move on. If you are someone who has been trying to move on from someone and you can't shake them, and like trying to resist them feels just wrong, and you're feeling inspired to go back, but you're worried that if you go back, it's going to bring heartbreak. I feel like you're going to be amazed by your ability to handle conflict in that situation, because the reality is you can't ruin things with the right person. Like, this is also with the air signs here, with Uranus and Gemini trine Pluto in Aquarius. This is going to be like, we can't avoid the truth. We can't avoid the truth. And sometimes the truth, sometimes this could not really jive well with Cancer energy, because sometimes the truth could be uncomfortable, but this seems like truth is helping us move forward in the direction of love. This seems like the truth is going to be so abundantly clear that it's going to be like this huge sigh of relief. um I feel like there's someone in your energy, or maybe this is you, that is holding back because they're afraid of their reserves being limited, and they are basically, I think that a lot of us have been playing it safe and undermining our own capacity, and we're going to be granted an opportunity to really recognize how much emotional strength that we have. And it's like, it's almost this attitude of being like, um yeah, I trust my ability to handle grief. I trust my ability to shake things off that aren't meant for me. And I trust my ability to dream bigger next time. It's like, this seems like for a lot of you, it's going to be accepting that rejection is redirection, and rejection sensitivity dysphoria might be significant here. Like, for a lot of you, you might have been avoiding not wanting something to pop your bubble. And to me, this, looking at the transits, this feels like a bubble is being popped. We also have Mercury in Cancer retrograde conjunct the moon and the sun on the same day of this new moon. And so this is like a message being sent. It might be a message that is sent somatically. Um, there might be just something in the body that is screaming at you that enough is enough. And you might be feeling inspired to rush in and tell someone how you feel, or you might be attracting that energy to you, because this is an energy of the truth cannot be held back anymore. The body is craving truth. Um, Queen of Swords in reverse. I feel like you've been holding on to your truth and like trying to keep the peace in some area of your life because you've been afraid of what would happen if you had to experience grief or heartbreak. Ace of Swords. But it's like, I just feel like no matter how this shakes out for you, even if it is initially triggering, even if you feel like the rug's pulled from under you or the band-aids ripped off, I feel like you're going to be pleasantly surprised by your ability to have capacity for grief, and your ability to be graceful with yourself. And I feel like once you have all the information and once this truth snaps into place, it's going to be a lot easier for you to dream even bigger. And I feel like that's kind of what, like, Cancer energy, like this Cancer new moon wants you to feel good. They want you, or this moon wants you to nurture yourself and feel good. And rather than trying to play it safe and figure out how to compromise, this is kind of ushering you into new alignment. Um, you're going to be aligning with a new sense of truth within yourself that is going to allow you to dream even bigger regarding the types of partnership and community that you want to attract. Because I feel like you have a lot of nurturing energy to give and a lot to be desired, a lot to yearn for. So a lot to give and a lot to yearn. And you're kind of just sick of being the one holding everything together. And you're ready You're ready to move past this grief, or it's almost like the fear of grief. The fear of grief that is keeping you from wanting to move forward. It's like a sunk cost fallacy to some degree. Now, let's see. Is there anything else we need to know? Page of Wands. And I feel like whatever you're attracting next is going to feel too good to be true. But it only could have happened because um, you stopped making compromises and you stopped making excuses for your needs. This sense of greater truth that you're moving into is going to make it easier for you to advocate for your needs and ask for what you want, and this is ultimately going to propel you forward into more romantic fulfillment, even if you're like happily partnered and nothing's really happening with that. I do feel like whatever this brings up for you is going to attune you and align you to your own inner light so that you're able to go even deeper and be even more intimate with your loved ones. Because as you grow more intimate with yourself, the easier it is to show up with that level of emotional presence with others. Okay, so please remember to comment and let me know how this resonates, and I will see you in the next one.